Hi, my name is Joseph Parker, WBO champion of the world, and you're watching Sporting Icons.
Alright everyone, I hope you're all doing fantastic. So in this video, we're talking about the latest rankings regarding the IBF, the heavyweight division of course. Every month I like to keep everybody updated as to what's going on across the sanctioning bodies, including the Ring magazine. And those videos will be popping up intermittently at the end of the video, during the video, etc, etc. So in this one, the IBF, for those who may remember last month's rankings, well, there is some differences this particular month. And of course, there are some updates surrounding the IBF mandatory position. So we're going to discuss all of that as this video goes along. So the champion is Anthony Joshua. The number 1 position is currently vacant. Number 2, Charles Martin. Number 3, Alexander Usyk. 4, Filip Hrgovic. 5, Joseph Parker. 6, Ajit Kabiel. 7, Tony Yoka. 8, Andy Ruiz Jr. 9, Luis Ortiz. 10, Joe Joyce. 11, Michael Hunter. 12, Dempsey McKean. 13, Otto Wallin. 14, Zili Zhang. And number 15, Martin Bakole. So a couple of differences that have happened straight away will be number 8, Andy Ruiz Jr. has been freshly inserted into the rankings this month. He wasn't ranked last month. Martin Bakole is also ranked in number 15 position as well. He wasn't in the top 15 last month. Dropped out is Kubrat Pulev, who was number 10, and Hughie Fury, who was number 15. So they've actually been dropped out of the top 15. I'm presuming it's something to do with the sanctioning fees. This is how the sanctioning bodies work out a lot of their rankings. Now, the number 1 position currently vacant. The IBF do this. They've done this for a long, long time. They always keep it vacant until they have an official mandatory. The last mandatory that they had was Kubrat Pulev, where he fought and got knocked out by Anthony Joshua. So that position is now currently vacant. So now they need to look at who's going to be filling that particular position. There's been quite a few offers here, there and everywhere. People have been walking away from the fights. And it's Filip Hrgovic. The number 4 position right now is in pole position. So it's him versus somebody else will fill that particular position. Charles Martin, who of course is number 2 right now, was offered the fight with Filip Hrgovic. He said no, he weren't interested in that fight. For whatever reason, I still don't know why. But Charles Martin managed to keep his position, even though he turned down this particular opportunity. Filip Hrgovic was also offered Michael Hunter. They went through negotiations, they went through purse bids. Michael Hunter decided to pull out of the negotiations to go fight a career cruiserweight in Mike Wilson. Is this on it's on some kind of Triller undercard fight or something? Is it the Lopez versus Cambosos? Is it on that undercard or something like that? I've forgotten. But either way, because Michael Hunter pulled out of that fight, he gets dropped by 7 positions down to number 11. But Charles Martin keeps his position. That's a little bit odd for me. So it looks like Joseph Parker is going to get a knock on the door from the IBF asking, do you want to fight Filip Hrgovic for the official IBF mandatory position? Now, some of you may say, but Alexander Usyk, why is he not fighting, say, Filip Hrgovic, for example? Well, Usyk, he's going to be fighting Joe Joyce for the WBO interim title. Okay, Alexander Usyk is, of course, mandatory for WBO anyway. But that's the route he's going down. So for me, it's a complete waste of a ranking, isn't it, to have Alexander Usyk there when he's not going for that particular fight. He's not going for the IBF position. Yes, when he fights the winner of Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury, should he get past Joe Joyce, of course, yes, the IBF belt will be on the line as well. So from that perspective, I can understand why he is ranked for sure. But that's why he's not going to be fighting for the Hrgovic, because he's already going to have a fight with Joe Joyce. Joe Joyce is down there in number 10. Is it a waste of a ranking? Again, arguably because of their particular fight. So it looks like Filip Hrgovic could well be fighting Joseph Parker. Some people will have their own opinions about that particular fight and how it will go. Some people will say, well, should Joseph Parker accept that fight against Filip Hrgovic? When a lot of people feel that Joseph Parker should be rematching Derek Chisora. So which route is Joseph Parker going to take? In time, we'll find out. But currently, that's how the position is. So if Parker says, yes, I'm going to fight Filip Hrgovic, and they get the deal done, then Filip Hrgovic versus Joseph Parker, the winner of that fight, will fill the number 1 vacant position for the IBF mandatory. But of course, that won't be called for at least another 18 months anyway. Okay, so that's what the current position is. But if Joseph Parker turns it down, then Filip Hrgovic will then go to Kabiel, then Yoka, then Ruiz, etc., etc. That's how it goes, all right? So number 5, Joseph Parker, of course, that position is there because he defeated Derek Chisora. It's not about whether or not most people agree he got the right decision or the fight should have been a draw or Derek Chisora won the fight. However it may be, officially, he got the win. That's why he's ranked as high as what he is in number 5. But of course, he is former world heavyweight champion, WBO version, of course. With only 2 losses on his resume, to Anthony Joshua and, of course, to Dillian White. Number 6, Ajit Kabiel, former European heavyweight champion, 20-0, very inactive fighter. I think he did have a fight lined up. I don't know who it is against. But number 6 position, I don't know if that's a justified position because we don't know how good Ajit Kabiel is. I mean, his best win on his career will be against Derek Chisora when he defeated him in Monte Carlo. And a pretty one-sided victory, I think, in my opinion. Some people may disagree with that one. But the rightful decision was Ajit Kabiel. Yes, Derek Chisora did turn up without his trainer at the time, Don Charles, in his corner and whatever else. But still, Ajit Kabiel got the win. But he has turned down opportunities to defend his title against credible opponents such as Joe Joyce. He turned that fight down, which is why he vacated the European heavyweight title. Did he duck Joe Joyce? Arguably, yes. But either way, number 7, Tony Yoka, 10-0. Tony Yoka, in my opinion, has a better resume than Ajit Kabiel, but he's only had 10 fights. Of course, he was an outstanding amateur, Tony Yoka, from France. Has a bit of a shade on his resume in the fact that he has or didn't have some PED tests, shall we say, so he does have a black mark against his name. But I'd like to see Tony Yoka take on, say, Kabiel, to be honest with you. I really would. I want to see how good Tony Yoka is. I want to see him take on maybe a Dempsey McKean. I don't know too much about Dempsey McKean. With Dempsey McKean being ranked number 12, I don't know if that's a justified position. I've never seen Dempsey McKean fight. Some of you will have. Some of you will tell me if he's good or not. He is 18-0. That'd be an interesting fight. If not, let's see Tony Yoka take on... well, any of these guys really would be nice. Any of them. His last win over Johan Duapa, it is what it is. Johan Duapa is a gatekeeper and pretty much always has been, let's be fair. But I want to see Tony Yoka take on some of these guys. In fact, I wouldn't mind seeing him take on F.A. Jagba or a Frank Sanchez or something like that. I really want to see Tony Yoka step it up this year. I really do. Number 8, Andy Ruiz Jr. That's a fresh insert into this one. His last fight, after being inactive, of course, for quite some time after he lost to Anthony Joshua in the rematch, he did fight and defeat Chris Arreola. Should that one fight alone put you in that number 8 position? No. But I think the fact that he does have a win over Anthony Joshua, the fact that he is former IBF champion along with the WBA, IBO and the WBO in that as well. But he did lose his last fight, and of course he has fought for a world title before that against Joseph Parker where he's lost, which is explains his 2 losses on his resume. But number 8 position, not a bad position. You could probably argue that maybe he should be a little bit higher out of respect, but what can you do? Number 9, Luis Ortiz. That's not a bad position. Again, we're still waiting for Luis Ortiz to actually step it up. Because the 2 times that he has stepped up was against Deontay Wilder and he got knocked out twice. Yes, he put on great performances in both fights, but ultimately it's the result that really matters, isn't it? And he lost those fights. So I want to see Luis Ortiz. No more of these Alexander Floreses, no more of these Razvan Kajanus. Just stop it with these absolute bums, let's be honest with you, and take on somebody here. If Andy Ruiz Jr. and Deontay Wilder don't get a fight over the line next, Luis Ortiz, Andy Ruiz Jr., let's have that fight. Let's see if Luis Ortiz can justify that particular position. Number 10, Joe Joyce. We already discussed that one with his fight pending with Alexander Usyk. Apparently, there is something going on with the WBO where they are actually intervening in that particular fight. So I'll keep you updated with that one soon. Michael Hunter being dropped 7 positions for turning down the fight with Filip Hrgovic last minute after he was even going through purse bids and all that kind of stuff to go fight Mike Wilson, a career cruiserweight. I don't know what Michael Hunter's thinking there. I don't know, unless, of course, he was offered big money to take that fight. I don't know. I've got a feeling it's something to do with the WBA. But anyway, number 12, Dempsey McKean. Already said I don't know too much about him. Hopefully some of you guys and girls can fill me in. Number 13, Otto Wallin. I think he should be ranked a little bit higher than that. But ultimately, I can't complain that he's ranked in the top 15 anyway. I think he is. Yes, he did lose to Tyson Fury. And yes, he did give Tyson Fury hell. He took Tyson Fury to hell in the handbasket, didn't he? Caused that cut legitimately as well. Wasn't a head clash. Yes, he was fighting a little dirty at time when he kept rubbing his wrist into the cut and the wound of Tyson Fury. And yes, he did wobble Tyson Fury in round number 12. So he put on a very good performance, which of course is his only loss. And it was the right decision for Tyson Fury to get the win. Was Otto Wallin unlucky in some ways that the fight wasn't stopped? Maybe. That's an arguable point, but me being a biased Brit, I agree that the fight continued and Tyson Fury gets the win. But Otto Wallin, he's had a couple of good wins since then, most notably against Dominic Brazil. Dominic Brazil, not the hardest person in the world to hit, but Otto Wallin did put on a one-sided victory and just outboxed Dominic Brazil, didn't he? So I'd like to see Otto Wallin take on any of these other guys. Maybe him take on Ajit Kabir. That'd be an interesting one. But Otto Wallin is pretty much a PBC fighter now. Ajit Kabir, of course, is a top-ranked fighter. Would that cause any kind of issues? Hopefully not, but probably it will. So maybe we'll see Otto Wallin. Maybe him take on Luis Ortiz or Andy Ruiz Jr. Or a Wilder. You know, these are in-house fights, are they not? Shouldn't be too difficult to make, but we'll have to wait and see. Zhilei Zhang, number 14. Okay, Zhilei Zhang, his last fight, he lost that fight, let's be honest. He did, and yes, he did get gifted a draw, in my opinion. It's like he wasn't at the races. It's like he had no energy, he had no power, he had nothing about him. And he lost against that journeyman / gatekeeper. And I'm being as fair on it as I possibly can. And him getting a draw, I think it's because he was on a Matchroom show, to be honest with you. And, of course, Eddie Hearn Matchroom, and he is a DAZN fighter, so he got gifted a draw. But in my opinion, he lost that fight. And if you can't beat that kind of opponent, you shouldn't be ranked in the top 15. That's my honest opinion on that one. It really is. Number 15, Martin Bakole. It's a fair position. Martin Bakole is a very good fighter. But again, I want to see Martin Bakole take on some of the other top guys. Martin Bakole, I believe, will fight Billy Nelson. He loves a nice little payday. So Billy Nelson won't be objecting to him fighting any of the top guys at all. But Martin Bakole, he can certainly handle himself. I think defensively, he may get found wanting at some point, especially with the way he fought Kuzmin last time out. But Martin Bakole, I'd like to see him take on Hughie Fury, to be honest. I'd like to see him take on Kubrat Pulev, the two guys who've been dropped out of the top 15. In some ways, it's kind of an in-house fight with Martin Bakole and Hughie Fury. They're both under the Matchroom banner, or I think Martin Bakole still is, I don't know. If not, let's see Martin Bakole take on Kabiel or take on a Luis Ortiz or something like that to justify that kind of position. But, I mean, I can't discredit him being number 15. I think it's okay, in my opinion. Anyway, that is the top 15 for the IBF. Drop your thoughts below, click thumbs up, subscribe. Catch you on the next video.